Oh, as Joe said, my name's Mike. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Greensburg area. The first thing I want to say is that, this group of people sitting here and down here it's the driving force behind everything I do on a daily basis, is to see people's lives change, to pull out of the garbage that I put myself in and that, we've all slipped into. This unity that we have, to fight the addiction and the bondage that we've all been tied up in is so strong that, just the ability to reach out to people on a daily basis for me is such an honor and a privilege, and to have people pouring into me also, just makes my life worth living. It gives me that hope that we're talking about tonight. Without that hope, I don't have a reason to wake up in the morning, and that was the big problem I had, through the whole addiction phase of my life. Last 7 years of my life has been pretty much a story of contrast to where I am right now. It's kind of interesting, I didn't know, but Carl, I guess, his clean date's 4 days prior to mine, so I got about 18 months also. The contrast that I'm talking about is, just last week I work at a facility that's a faith-based recovery program called Teen Challenge. It's the avenue that I took to get the hope in my life that I was so desperately seeking. And I had an 18-year-old kid come up to me. His eyes were full of tears. He said, "Mike, I finally got it. I finally surrendered. It's time to make a change." Threw his arms around me about 3 or 4 times, and I went back to my room and I did the same. I started crying, because I've seen, too much damage done to people to not care, to, look someone in the eye and just not have everything inside me yearning to see that change that happened to me to happen in them. Another big contrast in my life, as compared to that, was in my addiction. I was addicted to heroin for 6 years. I started using when I was 16 years old. Kind of a little different of a story than most people. I kind of jumped into it head first, and there was no middle ground. It was, something I clung on to so quick. But, a day back in my addiction, just like everybody else, just tearing myself apart, tearing up everyone around me. A day in my addiction would be waking up, trying to, get the sympathy of my parents to let me use their car and to give me some money, make up whatever excuse I had to go out, do something in the morning to get myself off of being sick. The rest of the day would be scraping money together, counting change, going in, ripping a business off, doing something to get the money that I needed to, get more of what I wanted to get. Then at the end of the day, I'd come home and hope my parents, the only people that cared about me, weren't home, so I didn't have to deal with the look in their eyes when they see me walk in the door not in my right mind. Through all this, YOU and Joe Maxim stepped into my life. This is after numerous half-hearted attempts to, change the way I was living. Joe began to pour into me on a weekly basis, coming to these groups, and really made me see that someone did care. I knew my parents cared, but the relationship was so stressed that I didn't. It was a hard thing to deal with, and having someone on the outside come in and step in and say, what you're doing is ridiculous, and pat me on the back and saying you can do this, was a huge help. At the very top of my mess, I ended up in the psych ward for a near overdose, suicide attempt. This is a very dark day in my life, but on that day, that everything changed for me. I ended up going to Teen Challenge, the place that I work for now, and that hope that we're talking about was given to me. Began seeking out God and His plan for my life, and through all that, began to really see the importance of reaching out and helping others. it was a long process. It took over a year for me to graduate that program. It's exactly what I needed. And through contact with Joe now, you know, being able to come and speak here, even though I'm not directly involved now with the YOU program, had it not been for YOU, there'd be no way I would be standing up here. I'd be standing behind bars, or I'd be laying down, you know, in a hospital bed or worse. And you know, this hope that we're talking about has delivered me from the use of medication for bipolar disorder. It's delivered me from, you know, drug and alcohol addiction. It's delivered me from selfishness. It's delivered me from everything that was controlling my life. Lust, anything that you know, if you can think of it, I had that problem. I was an extremist, and through the hope that we're talking about here, it's all been washed away. And now, from the person I was to the person I am now, night and day. You know, I get comments all the time about how, you know, you're not the same person anymore. I don't know what happened, but that old person, I used to know, that guy's gone, and I don't see him coming back. And you know, on a day-to-day basis, as long as I do what I need to do, I have people like Joe in my life to push me in the right direction. I know that I'll never fade back. And you know, what I want to say the most is that you know, that the hope that we have, the hope that I have through Jesus Christ has given me everything back. The people who pushed me in the right direction, I want to thank Joe especially, because without him I wouldn't be standing up here. My parents who are here hearing this, I just want to thank you guys, and most of all, I want to thank God, you know, for allowing me to do this. My favorite verse, Philippians 1:20. It's the verse I live by. It's my earnest hope and expectation I will no way be ashamed, but with all boldness now as always, Christ will be glorified in my life, whether by life or by death. So thank you guys.